We've all heard that drinking a cup of water every morning after waking up is good for our health. Or is it? How much truth is there actually behind this common health claim? We decided to dig into the scientific literature and put ourselves to test, drinking a standard cup of water at room temperature every morning for a week.
Good morning. I've just woken up. I've prepared myself 250 mils of water, so I guess I'm just going to film myself drinking it.
First of the experiment, drinking water, a cup of water, 250 mils, right after waking up.
In this video, we will explore the effects of drinking water upon waking up. We will share our personal experiences. This will be mostly subjective data. We will also delve into the research to provide you guys with some objective findings. Our discussion today will cover the optimal temperature of water, such as hot and cold water, the timing of drinking water, such as after waking up or before going to bed, the interrelationship between water intake and obesity, daily water requirements, the behavioral aspects of water drinking habits, and then we will finish with an overview of water's impact on health and well-being. To make this video a bit easier to follow, these topics will be timestamped, and all research papers and resources used in this video will be referenced and listed in the description for further reading. Without further ado, let's dive into it. In our experiment, we prepared a standard 250 ml cup of room temperature water every night to drink upon waking up. We also measured our weekly water intake 1 week before the experiment and during the experiment to see if drinking water in the morning causes any significant changes in our water drinking behavior throughout the day. In a study published in April 2024 by Hill, which is a very recent study, they found very fascinating results that surprised me. And this study included 172 participants, 75 men and 97 women. This study specifically examined the effects of water temperature on obesity, and they looked at the link between the amount of water the participants drank and changes in their weight and waist circumference. Additionally, they investigated whether the timing of drinking water plays a role in digestion. Their findings showed that the individuals who drank more than 8 glasses of water per day had a 1.78-fold greater likelihood of obesity compared to those who drank less than 2 glasses per day. Contrary to the common recommendations of drinking 8 glasses of water, their research suggests this may be a bit excessive for most people, as it often underestimates water intake from food and other fluids. Additionally, they found that drinking water before bedtime was inversely associated with BMI. This study also found that participants who preferred cold water had higher BMI and waist circumference. Now, in my experience, I personally didn't feel as hungry as I usually would be in the morning, potentially because of the satiety effect as a result of drinking water. But given our results that we got during the experiment comparing weights and water intake, there was no correlation between our intake of water and the next day's weight. Well, okay, moving on to the next topic, I wanted to discuss the daily water requirement and the behavioral aspect of drinking water, and some people identify as water drinkers while others do not. Well, as the graph shows, I consume significantly less water than my friend Bowen. I thought that I was meeting my personal goals of reaching the required amount of water per day, but after measuring my water intake, I realized I was just a little bit over half the recommended one. However, there's also the good news of recent studies questioning the validity of these numbers and looking at them in a bit more detail. There was also another study done by Armstrong and Johnson in 2018. Their study was a literature review which looked at all the other primary research papers. They found that despite numerous efforts to define a state of euhydration and determine the daily water requirements of children, men, women, and all the adults, no empirical research provides definitive answers and no universal consensus exists. Returning to the behavioral aspects of our discussion, we will discuss a study done by Roger and Papes in 2022. This research is titled Understanding the Influence of Value, Reward, Self-Identity, and Early Life on Water Drinking Behavior. They found that drinking water out of obligation was associated with low, inconsistent, and effortful intake of water. Participants who identified as health conscious were more likely to associate water with reward and hence drink more water. And drinking patterns from early life persisted into later life and were experienced as hard to change. So children who grew up drinking a lot of water also continued the same habits later on in their adulthood. Next on the agenda, we have the benefits of drinking water, particularly on an empty stomach. After you wake up in the morning, we're all mildly dehydrated, and this is because we lose fluids such as water by breathing and sweating, which also happens throughout the night. This is known as respiration and perspiration. But the good news is that after you wake up, our stomach is empty, so therefore the water that we drink will be absorbed at a much quicker rate, and therefore it will rehydrate the body at a faster level. And this will bring the body back to its optimal functioning, where it would regulate blood pressure, blood glucose, and the overall homeostasis of the body. In addition to that, drinking water in the morning may also aid with weight loss by reducing calorie intake due to its satiety effect, which is when it makes you feel a bit more full. Water is also known to eliminate toxins that are produced overnight by the body. This happens via urination. Water also enhances cognitive performance. It improves skin and hair health, and it's heavily involved with muscle recovery overnight. On top of these, despite the fact that the research is a bit limited in these areas, these are pretty widely accepted benefits of water, and that's because we know that water is essential for our health, and it's heavily involved with overall metabolism of body, cognitive functioning, and physical recovery of our body. That brings us to our summary for today's video. Starting with our own experiment, we found that drinking water in the morning was not correlated with weight or weight loss. We, however, felt that we were more rehydrated and felt a bit more fresh during the experiment after waking up. In my case, I also found that I wasn't hungry as much after drinking water in the morning compared to before the experiment. Moving on to the research that we summarized and looked at, starting with the research done in Korea by Gil, it showed that a higher amount of water intake was linked with a higher BMI and weight circumference. It also showed that drinking water before bed was directly linked with a lower BMI. Moving on to the research done by Roger and Papes in 2022, they found that people who identify as health conscious drank more water. They also found out that water drinking patterns during childhood is highly likely to carry on adulthood and is very difficult to change. Then we looked at a literature review done by Armstrong and Johnson in 2018. This showed that there was no research that gives a definitive amount of daily water requirements. Then lastly, we came with the overall benefits of drinking water in the morning that included reduced calorie intake, eliminating toxins from the body, enhanced cognitive performance, better skin, hair, and muscle health. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video about drinking water in the morning on an empty stomach. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.